Like I have read probably like 8 books on boundaries, guys, and I have not, you say I do better, but
You
I
do.
struggle so hard with those closest to me,
Yeah,
because I feel
absolutely.
like it's almost like I'm failing at my job
Hmm.
by saying I need you to, like, I need you here. Like, but instead of thinking of how do I take care of here, or I'm always still outside.
Welcome to the Delulu Magic Podcast, where we delulu our mindset and create the most magical version of our lives. I'm Paola.
And I'm Gabby, and I want to welcome everybody today that's joining us and coming back to listen to some of our talks. We've had a lot of issues the past week. Not we, me. So today we kind of were chatting about what to set for our topic today. And I think we both decided on
Boundaries. What better
boundaries.
way to start on Mother's Day
Mother Day
week?
week. I mean, is it really? I thought we were only getting 12 hours. I don't even know how. We had this whole conversation, and as we sat and you said something to me, I was like, oh, that's probably why I do these things. That I I feel like I've done a lot of work, right, between
Mhm.
all the therapy and again all the reading, all the listening, and I'm like, no, I've got this. Like I am not, you know, flailing. And then life happens, which this normally does for everybody, right? And it will throw me for a
Mhm.
complete like loop around. It feels like I've been on a roller coaster since just on a span of like 5 days. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm good, and then it's like something, but I'm going down, and then the lows are just like so hard and so um difficult to like look at it, that I'm like, why are you still here? Like, why are you keep coming back? Like, why do I have to go through this? Haven't I done enough work
Hmm.
for you not to be here? Whatever issue it is, which is ABCD.
Absolutely. No, I know. And I think we talked about that, like progress. It's not linear, like this
Yeah,
healing journey, this self discovery, learning all these things, right? 6 years of therapy for you, right?
yeah.
And you've learned so much. And I see it. I've seen your growth.
Oh, thank
Right. And I think,
you. Yeah.
and I know, like, when I really take a look and reflect as well, like, definitely for mine. But I think it's that we see it as this linear path, and we can all be very hard on ourselves when we're like, oh, I was doing so good and reacting so well. But maybe in a certain instance, life is throwing a lot at you. And
Mm-hmm.
it becomes like, then you're just kind of like, doing this,
Yes.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
flailing. And it becomes really frustrating. But I
Yeah.
think that's just like that's just life,
It is. It
and
is.
kind of being more compassionate
Mm-hmm.
for ourselves, which we
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah.
But I think it's sometimes hard to do in the moment.
Yeah. I've had some situations come up right between, like, I'm like going to be the one that mainly always about health, obviously, because my body, I don't learn. I coast really good. I do well, and then I'll take a lot of the mental load in without realizing what it's doing to my body. So my body will kind of get to a point now where it's like, yeah, you're not listening again. Like, you keep
Hmm.
not listening, and then I break down crying because I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. I don't know why I always think that I can handle it all, and I want to carry it all. And I had a few conversations over the weekend, and a lot of it was things that I've never said, because I'm
Hmm.
always living in this state of people should know. If you know me, if you love me, you should know that I can't take it all. I can't do it all. I also need to be taken care of.
Hmm.
But because I've never voiced it, I find that the people that are supposed have those roles, they just assume I don't really, because I'm fine.
Yeah.
I don't need it. So why, some people do need actual, like you say, literal, like very clear, concise conversations and communication. Me being in this, you should know how. If I really am not saying, hey, I don't want to be alone. Hey, I feel crappy today. Hey, it's a lot for me. Like, please don't. I don't want to have this conversation. Hey,
Hmm.
I need some time off, or just saying that is, even right now, feels
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna be seen as weak. I'm not. I don't have it all together. um, you're gonna judge me, or you're
Mhm.
gonna feel that I don't love you because
Mhm.
I'm trying to love myself first. So that for me is like I have read probably like 8 books on boundaries, guys, and I have not, you say I do better, but
You
I
do.
struggle so hard with those closest to me,
Yeah,
because I feel
absolutely.
like it's almost like I'm failing at my job
Mhm.
by saying I need you to, like, I need you here. Like, but instead of thinking of how do I take care of here? Or I'm always still outside, and I thought of what you said about God and all that when I was
Mhm.
watching our uh, podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'm always still like out. I
Mhm.
don't look at me. And I had to this weekend. What did I text you that I had to do? Because when you told me it's so nice outside, go outside.
Oh yeah, you're like I'm gonna go take
Not
care of
gonna be
my
like a
yeah.
like a toddler. I was like, I'm gonna
Take
have
care.
food. I'm gonna go sit outside, and I'm just gonna,
Mhm.
calm my nervous system down.
Which is so
Because
important.
yeah, so that's I'm going to say that to anybody. It is an ongoing, that feels like it doesn't feel like, I won't say a task, but it is a thing that I probably will struggle until I'm no longer here, because all I've known is to give and give out and give out. But my body and my
Mhm.
mind are like, no, there's only so much you can do to us without us screaming and making you like,
Yeah, we're
shut,
gonna pay attention.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
gonna
you're
pay
gonna have to
attention.
pay attention.
And I know we've talked about this, and I think part of what I hear you saying, and I feel like for a lot of women, for
Yeah.
me too, is that if I tell you all these things, like, am I gonna be too much?
Yes.
Like, am I?
Unlovable.
Yeah, like, because I'm putting this on you, and it's almost like right, it's 40 years of
Yes.
doing this. Like, how do you retrain your brain, right? It is that consistent work,
Mm-hmm.
and going back, and especially when you have those struggles, because it's not coming from a logical place anymore.
No.
We are coming from this, like, we regress, like we go back to our amygdala, like the fear-based center.
Yeah.
We go back to like when we were whatever age, that
Mhm.
5-year-old, that
Yeah.
7-year-old that was like, hey, like your feelings are too much, or you're asking for too much. Let's say if you felt that way,
Yeah.
right? Maybe your
Yeah.
parents said it, maybe you just thought, or
Mhm.
you felt that way. It becomes really hard, I think, to say these things like,
To
hey, I
voice.
need your help. I'm
Mhm.
overwhelmed. I can't do everything. And I'm right there with you with boundaries. I, back then, I don't even think people talked about boundaries.
Mhm.
I never thought about even roles like setting, hey, at the house, like, I was just like, I'm supposed to do the dishes and, like clean the kitchen and do the laundry. Like, it wasn't like
And
a
cook.
thing like,
Yeah.
hey, can you help me?
Mhm.
Or can you do this and I'll do this? Like,
Mhm.
that wasn't even a thing that, and it's weird, right? Like, now I'm like, why wouldn't that be something that we would discuss? I just
Yeah.
naturally took over, but also
Yeah.
because you want
The
look
pot.
at like how
Yes, I do it all.
well I
I
do
can
at
handle it.
juggling all
Yes.
this. And then we do get mad and frustrated when we're like, why do you think I can handle so much, and why that I'm so
Well, you
strong?
assume, like, assuming again, like that. How on earth do you think, like, a capacity as a human? Most of us think that women do this. How do you think we're able to function daily?
Mm-hmm.
And without actually like sitting there and looking at it is what I think, right? But if I don't voice it or communicate it, like, nobody's gonna know these thoughts or feelings,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know me probably, more than anybody else, and like how hard it is for me to be actually, like, for me to break down and
Mm-hmm.
like cry and be like, okay, this is too much, and this is, but our conversations and all that, and again, the work I've done has helped me like process now, where I'm like, why a situation happened, okay, sit with it, what is it, and then I'm like, oh, there it is, that's why this is making me feel this way,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw this and that, and I am terrified of that happening to me, or me being this person I don't want to be.
Yeah, the
So
trigger of
the trigger, because it does this little spiral for me, so but recognizing it is coming faster, and I'm able to, like, okay, well, then you need to go to bed,
mm-hmm.
or you need to go, like, feed yourself, or you need to do just the
Sit
basic
in the
things
sun.
right now, and then it'll get better, and then you can talk about it, and you can start to do some things for yourself, which those entail like the boundaries, but it's actually like, what do I need, instead of what do they need,
Yes.
which I'm always, it's, they need to, know that I can't, they no, what do I need, I actually need, probably, I need to voice Hey, this is what I can handle. This is what I can't. Hey,
Mhm.
you know what? I don't want to be part of these conversations. Hey, I don't want to be around right now. I don't feel like being, everybody's mediator or everybody's
Mhm.
fixer. Like, you got to figure things out on your own. Like letting go. Oh my gosh, that's
Being the fixer of
being
that
the
fixer
fixer,
role, I
because
feel like
that
so
has
many
been
women.
my big crowning jewel. Like I tell me your problem. Like, point being, we're in the meeting before, and I'm like, tell me what's going on. Let's see how we can figure this out. Because nothing to do with me, but I am like, I will help you
It's like
solve
I
this.
got this.
But don't do as I do as I say, but don't do like I do. Because I don't let anybody come in and that
Mhm.
too, like coming in and telling me like your input, like yours, I'm very open to and receptive. My mom, I'm very grateful right now where I'm like, yeah, I have her wisdom, and I've got
Mhm.
our momager. I love her, and then she's very vulnerable with us, and she'll tell you, yeah, I
Yeah.
messed up. I did here. Here's how I did it, and I'm finding I'm surrounding with a lot of that, and it's helped me
Mhm.
get better at establishing this uh, path for myself, where I figured out what I need for me, which is,
Mhm.
you know, stay
Boundaries.
boundaries for me that stop. You cannot go and try to do everything all the
Mhm.
time. It has nothing to do with you, and you're okay. You're not gonna feel that you're lacking, or like you said, you're not gonna be loved, or like
Yeah.
seen as weak. And a big thing I was telling you on the way here, that I listened to Michelle Obama did her own podcast with her
Mhm.
brother, and I've listened to little clips and bits here, but she did one with Lewis Howes, and I just felt like, oh my God, as I'm listening, I did a little bit of the clips, and then I
Mhm.
was listening, and she's talking about how she doesn't even feel like she's good enough. And I'm
Mm.
like, oh my gosh. And she says, you think of her, like her life, of course, we see it on the outside, but we
Yeah.
know the reality is that we all have things. But I think if I don't do, and I'm not going to be good enough.
Mhm.
I'm going to be seen as, how could she not juggle it all?
Yeah.
Like, because look at all those other women that do it, and they're not complaining, and they're not saying they have anxiety, and they're not, feeling like it's too much. They just get through. But and then I
I
think,
feel
is
like
it
they think
because
they
we think
probably
too
do
much?
though. I mean, I would feel like I don't know. I just feel like women now.
We all fake it. Just
Well,
kidding.
we just have no. I don't. I think it's hard to be vulnerable, and I
Yeah,
think it's hard to
yeah,
share. And I think that how could we not be overwhelmed in like this society? It's like
too
it's
much.
again when we took that COVID like break, I was like, oh my God, like how was I burning myself out
Oh my
so
gosh,
much,
all,
like just doing
all
and like just
traveling and working. Yeah,
nonstop. And just and then we're like, and the parenting, and then all that guilt comes into play. So I feel like a lot of women, have that. It's just that who's really gonna put it out there like that to
so
just be
that's why
like,
we don't have no boundaries.
that's why.
Because we're just like, this is hard, but it does it. What do you mean
Well,
you want?
especially in our age bracket, I feel like that again. I don't think that was a thing that was taught. I think now, or even like the thing that you told me, you gave me an example that
My
a
mind talks
therapist
so much.
that the therapist basically get now and I
Yeah,
wanted to do this with the
yeah,
kids because I wanted to see like what their answer would be. Not that there's a right or wrong
yeah.
answer, but they're kind of.
Yes.
And it was basically the example of a therapist that had a patient, and the patient was telling the therapist,
Yeah,
so my boyfriend and I bought a
yeah,
dog, and she was doing like
yeah.
her MBA or something, right?
So
Her
her master's,
her
she had
master's.
to do it. She had a full time job, and I'm trying to remember, right? Yes, had a full time job doing her master's, and then
Her and
on
her
the
boyfriend
weekend she
moved
had to
in.
do the hours, and then her boyfriend then decided to adopt a puppy. Yeah,
Right.
so finished. Yeah.
Right. And so on the weekend she has to do all these hours for her
Mm-hmm.
for her degree.
Yeah.
And they had a plan, and the plan was, hey, at 3 p.m. The boyfriend was going to go out to lunch with some people. She was going to be doing her
Mm-hmm.
hours. At 3 p.m. he was supposed to take the dog out and then at
Yeah.
least make sure. He texts her like at 2:30 and says, hey, somebody invited me to dinner. I'm not going to be able to make it to
Mm-hmm.
take the dog out. Can you take the dog? And she immediately like texts back, sure, okay. And so
Yeah.
she checks with her, the people doing the
Mm-hmm.
hours. She's like, when can I, they're like, you still have to make up the hours. It'll have to be like on a weekend, so like basically overloading herself to accommodate
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah.
And the therapist was like, well, why did you say yes? Right. And
Yeah.
you asked me, that
Yeah.
was your question.
Yeah.
You're like,
What
before I
would
tell
you
you
do?
what she
Yeah.
did, I was like, ah, damn, I would have done the same
Yeah.
thing. And you
Yes.
said you would have too.
Yeah.
And I think that's where boundaries come into play because I was just like, why would be like, well, I could,
It's no biggie.
yeah, and he
I can
wants to go
manage
to the
it. Yes.
dinner
Yes. Go have
and
fun.
yeah. And I think we can hold our boundaries and still be nice. Like, I don't think we have to be like, well, go off on the person and be like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, we agreed to this,
Yeah.
which I think is, for me, I have two. I'm either nice, like, yeah, sure, or I'm really overwhelmed and I snap to the
Yeah.
side, like, why would you think I could do that? Like, we agreed to this. And so I think it's having that balance of like taking maybe the emotion somehow right out of it.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think it's something that we have to practice and being like, well, hey, no, we agreed to this.
Yeah.
But it's something that takes so much practice.
And
That for
actually
me,
doing it.
yeah,
Like
but
that situation. Think of it like how we think it's not huge, but it was like huge. So the point, like the story, the therapist is like, you that was wrong. That's how you already broke the boundary to yourself. You had already, it wasn't like you just were like, I forgot about it or anything. Things had been planned and arranged. You did not communicate, hey, I am doing something important just because you put him first. And I am guilty 100% of the time of that. I will put everybody else before myself, like at any cost. And even a stranger, I'll be like, it's cool. Like, I don't need to think of what I actually am doing or what I had planned. Like, I because I feel bad. Like,
yeah.
how am I gonna? I can do it. I don't, like I said,
I'm
breaking your it's just, yeah.
So I think for those moms out there, like it's normal. It's normal to not have had boundaries or not, or that you're learning boundaries. But I
Yes.
do think exactly what you said. You broke that boundary to yourself. It's
Yeah.
like you have to figure out first what your boundaries are. And to me, that's been the
Or, yeah, like
harder part because
personal
I'm like,
stuff.
well, I don't know. Like I think this is okay.
Yeah.
I want to help. I want to, do I want to like? That's my a love language, the service based
Yeah.
kind of thing. But figuring out what our boundaries are and then not breaking that, just like not breaking promises to ourselves. Like I never used to think, but it's like these little small habits because you can have your boundaries and then it's like, and even people that have strong boundaries, I don't know if this happens, but where you start letting people like, kind of come in or you break one and then it's like people
Well, it
start
just keeps going.
edging it out until you're like, I don't have,
You don't have any, and you don't, it's really, it's the promises to yourself and actually getting in tune again, like sitting and figuring out, hey, exactly what do I need. And it probably, like, for me, it's very uncomfortable because I don't, well, again, don't know what they are. It looks like I don't want to be burnt out. I don't want to be feeling,
someone help.
and then yeah, well, help is a thing too, but I want to be able to say, hey, you know what, it's not one-sided. That's a big thing, that by not having boundaries, then you end up feeling like I'm doing it all and you cannot, whatever person, whatever is, you don't see that it's like super one-sided like that, and that becomes, like I said, painful, right? Because
Yeah.
but who created that? Who did this cycle? I mean, I never like, I never kept any, like, I didn't think of how to protect myself, how to be like, okay, this is where my line is at, as far as like, this is what I will take on for work, this is what I will take on for like family, external stuff, this is what I will do as far as like accommodating or being the things, or just finding how to, what exactly do I need, and then going back to the basics, because I obviously don't know. And that feels, like I said, I've done so much work and it feels very frustrating because I should be able to, hey, I know this is what I need, but I've never done it.
Yeah.
I kind of go, and then it's like, my therapist likes to say, she's like, you do so well, and then it's like, like you said, and then it just goes and gets out of your hands, and you don't know. What did I say? I had a session with her last week, and I'm like, oh, it's always never fails, guys. I'm always like, I'm
so
not
good.
it's gonna be quick. We're gonna be, and I didn't have time. Let's just get to that, right? It just got very, 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 there was a lot going on. I guess I think my body wasn't doing well from like some medication I was on. I had no time, and I was like, can we just do Zoom? And I'm like trying to squeeze it in, and I'm trying to like clean up my office because I'm in there, and I'm like, oh, wrong. I don't need, but it was so many things wrong. And I
It was
get
the
on.
ADHD moment, it seems like.
But I was like, this is not. And we start, and she's like, what? And this is Zoom, and she's like, you don't look so well. And she's like, what's this cough? You've had this. And I'm like, it's fine. And she's like, have you went to the doctor? Have you gone and checked it? And I'm like, it's allergies, it's not biggie. And so she's talking to me, and I'm like, so I'm like, oh no, but I have. So I'm naming, right? I go through, like, I've been doing this and that. And she's like, you're so like right now, right? Like very like hyper or whatever. She's like, and then what did I say? I need to rein it all in because it's getting out of control. She goes, why would you even use that word? Like, you need to rein what in? And I'm like, she's like, take a pause. And I'm like starting to cry already. And she was like, I don't know what's happening. So she has me do this. Again, we share a therapist, but did you ever do the sand tray?
The one
The
you
app
look
where
at?
you pick these images. So
Yes.
it's like a sidebar is images. It's like almost like a cartoon. It looks like for kids, right? But it's like a sand tray, literally. And you just she's like, you don't even think, but you look at these images and it'll be like 9 pages of that, and you just pick whatever,
Mhm.
put this on the sand tray. Then you will go over it with her and you're in person, or if you do it like shared. So I did all this stuff, and that's when I told you all about the octopus thing. That I she said to me that it was like, you're not the octopus. Everything is touching you.
Mhm.
That it's and then she's like, you put a freaking grasshopper. What the hell does that mean? And I was like, because I go all over the place. And she's like, oh my
Dude.
god. And so I'm crying, and she's like, I just need you to breathe. Like, you do so well, and you're fine, and I'm not judging you. And she's saying all these wonderful things. I mean, and I love her. She's, feel like an angel to me, but she's like, you cannot continue doing this. Like, you
Yeah.
have got to realize, like, look at this image of what you put in there. And it's like, one was like a freaking flying unicorn. She's like, what does that mean? I was like, I just want to run away and disappear most times. And she's like, what is it with this? She goes, that's because you don't have boundaries. And I was like, oh God, she's right.
Mhm.
There's so many things. And so then I picked like two little girls. One was like with a backpack, and then one was like with glasses. And she goes,
Mhm.
do you see them? Why do you put two of them? Because you never like showed up for yourself. Like, you're not that.
Mm.
That's who needs you to be there now. Like, you need to be the adult for yourself now that she didn't have. So how do you go back? Is by looking at, the things she didn't have, didn't get. So you have to actually look, why is this freaking sand tray full of shit that wasn't hers?
Yeah.
So that started my spiral, obviously. Or guys. So
It just like
it was
opened up
just,
like the
the
floodgate. You're like, I
floods.
thought it was
Because I
so
was
bad.
like, I'm reining this in. I'm fine. I can be just so that really helped, and I actually took the days. She knows that I
Mhm.
did some work Thursday here, but I took Fridays, Saturdays, and I literally was like basics, like home, did not move, did not do much. Feel way better. Had my conversations, which were not easy. Again, my therapist was like, you need to write a letter and you send it to me because accountability, because you're not going to do it. And I was
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, I'm like a grown ass person, and you're saying I need you to do this. Like, you cannot continue this. Like, she's like, for your own well being. And I know how important that is,
Yeah.
right? Because I know I'll be like, no, I don't want to upset anybody. Like, it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
over it. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah. I'm,
better.
I'm I'm
They don't
better
really
now. I
need to
was
know
just,
I had
yeah.
this like breakdown, because like stigmatized almost, right? That she doesn't have it together. That
Yeah.
she hasn't been able to. What do you mean? She's doing all
Mhm.
these things. How can she not have it together in that sense? So I'm going to work on my letter and get on my boundaries, because that's the only way for my own mental,
Mhm.
and obviously physical, because that's what happens to me, you know, and
Yeah, it really does affect your body. I feel
yeah,
like you've been dealing with the boundary thing, and I think we've talked
yeah, like
about
you
this.
said right now.
That it's for, I think, everyone out there. It is the thing that you continue to struggle with. It's like what the universe is trying to show you,
Mm-hmm.
that is like one of your
Mm-hmm.
either deepest, like, traumas, and we have to always go back. I guess, again, I love to be Delulu and think of like
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
oh, this is how I am. But you have to go back to understand that
Let's
little
go through it.
trauma
Yeah,
or that big trauma
yeah.
that you had that makes you so uncomfortable with boundaries. Or like, did you, not even just the boundary part, but I think it is the, if I say all of these things that I feel, or that I'm not strong enough,
Mm-hmm.
or that if
Yeah.
I cry, right? Like, it's like not
Yes.
like when we
Yeah.
were little, like
Yeah. Yeah.
just cry
Well,
freely.
no, no,
Um,
no.
that am I gonna be too much? And like then it really is reparenting. We talked about this
Yeah.
weekend, like you telling yourself, like, you're allowed to have these big
Mm-hmm.
feelings, and you're allowed to feel overwhelmed, and you don't have to be strong, like
Mm-hmm.
telling, I think, your little self that. And it's the things that continue to show up because we haven't mastered them. It's the universe, I think, God being like, hey, I'm trying to level you up,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
you are in growth mode, and you are leveling up, and you've advanced so much. But
We're
this
gonna.
one thing is
Mm-hmm.
still the thing that you're saying that you're tackling, or that we're tackling, but it's like we still haven't like set it.
This is who we are, right? Like, I think even genetic, like our genes, everything is has
Mm-hmm.
this right now, and I have to kind of like, okay, I gotta go through it, and I gotta fix it. Not fix it. That's not the right word, according to my therapist. I have to
Reparent it,
go
breathe through.
through it and see what exactly I need,
Yeah.
right? And instead of thinking, oh, this is just a situation, because for me, again, it's things that are very much the big things, is that not having boundaries, and then it causes me to spiral out completely
Mhm.
and not putting myself in a position where I need to be okay.
Yeah.
Um, so it's definitely not linear.
It,
So everybody can
and it
know
can be
that.
frustrating.
And it can be frustrating. And I want to say that, but you don't stay there. It's temporary. You
Yeah.
know, you can have. I remember when we had our guest last week, we had two, but one specifically she said, and that really struck me, that it was like the self compassion and the grace and everything like I extend to others, like I have to not have, I'm learning to give it to myself on a
Yeah.
daily basis instead of feeling like I don't need anything. I've got it. Like I've seen it, and I had that conversation with my mom actually yesterday, and I said this to her because she has a sister right now that's ill, and my aunt
Mhm.
is struggling with letting people help with her, and my mom kind of said, I don't know why. And I was like, because you guys all do this. Like, this is all we know. Your
Yeah. Be
sister is
strong.
late 70s and very ill, and she can't even fathom the idea of having somebody come because she will be seen, I don't, probably as weak, or how could she not handle it? And then my mom's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, and I said, and that's all I've seen. I said, all I
Mhm.
see in you, it's like, get up and face the day and make your face whatever and go through it, instead of being like, you know what, today is not, I'm not feeling good. Like my
Mhm.
body doesn't feel good. Or you know what, mentally I'm just really tapped out. I need, I need a fun day. I need if you can, and I know not everybody can. I don't want to say that either, but it's like, how can I take care of myself in whatever small way I can, so I don't feel like I'm always just giving out and putting myself last, because it doesn't lead anywhere good. And this
Yeah.
is all I've seen in, like, I'm gonna say it, my maternal side. My paternal side, like, same, there's a lot of stuff going, but over here, my God, it is like you are freaking, a freaking horse and made out of steel, and nothing's
And
gonna
just
tear
keep
you down,
going.
and you
Yeah.
keep going. And I'm like, really, that's not even humane.
And that's what we were like showing our children. So I think that's
Yeah,
why that's to
yeah,
me that's why one of the things that, and I think for
yeah,
you too, that like we want to change.
yeah,
We right. That's why we
yes, yeah,
started on this journey, because we don't want to continue that path and showing our kids that hey, that's okay. So I
yes,
think for all the
yeah,
women out there, it's like you do it for you.
yeah,
Obviously, we do it
yeah.
for
Yes,
ourselves, for
yes,
my
yes.
little self.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna show up for you and
Mhm.
protect you and
Y-
take care of you
Mhm.
the way I would
Yeah.
have wanted, but also so that my kids can hopefully see that. And I wish I would have started on this even earlier. But
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
that's
But it's
just
what
as you're like,
matters
yeah,
is
it's like
now.
you do the
And
best that you
yeah.
can with what you have at the moment. But once you realize it, I think it is important, because if not, then you show them that to do the same thing in their
Yeah.
relationship, because your kids are going to do not what you say,
But you
but
do.
what they see you, how they see like their
Yeah.
mom
And how
taking
you,
all that
yes,
on.
and how you take care of yourself, and how you do the things, and how you
Hmm.
manage it, right? Like all that, and seeing that, hey, if you're sick, you can
Take a
stay
break.
home,
Yeah.
and like you don't have to like be like, I still can do all the things because my body doesn't need me to take care of it. So I hope that everybody will think of that. I know that May is like mental health
Hmm.
awareness, and that's so important. That doesn't mean that we all need to be with a therapist, or we all need, like, I think you definitely need faith. You need God. Some, if
Hmm.
it's not whatever, some belief system, something to get you through it, and you
Yeah.
need community. And if you have to do the bare minimum, which is those basics of feeding yourself and being like a plant or like a toddler, like get outside, get some water, you know, I like a lot of comedy, like do things that you can get yourself feeling loved and gentle. And that's what my therapist said to me, that how, what is, that's what she wanted to know, how did, she said, go get her Gabby, and then soft Gabby. And I was like, I don't know
Mm.
where she is. I don't get, I want to find her
You don't know
too.
where Soft Gabby is, or
Yes.
go? Because I know where Go
No,
Go
I
Gabby
know. And
is.
she was like, that's what we're trying to do. Like, you have to know what makes her feel. And I was like, those things, right? And like being with my people that make me, like, right now, this is where my joy is. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, well, that means that I'm going to have to maybe, um, look at what my life looks like for my time. Like, what do I want to invest? And I'm privileged for that, right? That I can say, hey, I can give a little more time to where I
Hmm.
have a lot more joy. And I can also make sure that I'm doing all those bare minimum basics so I can function. And then also, those are, I think, I'm finding those are my boundaries, guys.
And I think a good exercise to find your boundaries that I found was like writing down, like, okay, let's say a year from now, how would I want my life to look? So
Mm-hmm.
right with work,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
obviously work in a family business, so
Yes.
it's like
Oh,
maybe you don't
super
want to do as
enmeshed.
much,
Yeah.
or like before I didn't even have any boundaries like
Yeah.
for work. I was just like, you don't like you if you
Don't tell
right,
you
you
don't
have a
clock
business
out.
like you're
Yes.
I'm always like
Yes.
sending
Yes. Yeah.
emails, like it was like too much. And I didn't even realize it. It was like
Yeah.
kind of crazy. But I think if you write a letter to yourself or say, oh, this is like how my life goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can see where you want to, what you're saying you want to spend your time on,
Yeah.
even if it's like in the house, like, oh, my husband does this and I do this. And so you can see, okay, these are the things that would bring me joy or would make me happy. So now I need to talk with
Make it
whoever
happen.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about in here and say, hey, employer, or automatically you
Mm-hmm.
start figuring out how can I get my work done in this so that I don't have to be up, at
Mm-hmm.
8 p.m. sending emails, or okay with my spouse, how if this is how I'd like for it to go. Now we sit down and say, hey,
Yeah.
I'd like to, talk about like a change in plans and how
Yes.
we kind of dole out responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the hard part. The easier part is going to be writing it down, but then the hard part
Yes.
is, hey,
The
and you
conversations.
have to, I know I do, when I have these conversations, I actually like will sit down and like reparent myself
Mm-hmm.
beforehand because they're scary if you were never taught to have
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah. I just want to be able to manage it better, and I know it's going to take me having these things happen like
Yeah.
that, so I can be, more even as things come
Yeah.
forward, or as we go through life. So,
And also we're in perimenopause or
Jesus.
slash menopause. And I think for the men that are listening,
Oh God. Yeah.
give compassion to your wives. Like there is so much going on. Like,
Yeah.
and there are so many things that people used to be able to deal with that I could totally take on in my 20s and 30s
Mm-hmm.
that now feel overwhelming. They feel like scarier, and it's so much hormonal change. And I think for men, it's so easy to be like, oh, look at my wife when she's in her 20s or 30s. And, oh, look at everything she could do. She's so strong. She's so amazing. And then when the person can't handle as much, it's
What
what
happened?
how are you showing up and how are you supporting? It is a hard, difficult journey when you're going through perimenopause and you're feeling all these things and you don't know
Oh, and then
exactly
you
why
don't
you're
even
feeling
know.
them.
It's, I guess, you know what? I did read a little bit about that, and it's similar to when we go through when we're, in our teens, right? Like all those changes, and it's the same thing kind of. Back then, it's like
Mhm.
the spike of hormones. Now it's like the drop in hormones. So you don't even know. And truthfully, I probably was, not regulated as a teenager. Now, because of all the hormonal changes, it freaks me out because I'm like, I don't know what it feels like to sit in sadness. Just we'll say it, right? I don't know what, I know anxiety very well, but I don't know how to, like, it freaks me out that I'm like, I'm crying. I don't cry. I'm crying like 5 days straight. Like, make
Mhm.
it stop. This is not a person I know. But it's then I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going through this stuff. All the changes happening. Life, it's a lot. So learning about all that with our bodies will help.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, another boundary for us women as we are in this age, for our people that are listening that are this age, and
Mhm.
because there is a lot of components to all this that happens that we feel. But if you learn early to have boundaries, I promise you might make it better through this.
It does.
You'll be a little bit more prepared, and you'll just, have better resources,
Yeah.
or know how to do that for yourself.
And I think it makes sense that you've been feeling that way because you've had some changes in the things that you've been taking,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
hormonal supplements, that I get makes sense. And I think I know that it
Yeah.
feels hard. And, again, it's like even when you do the work, like you still, like we're so hard on ourselves.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
why
I'm
can't
like,
I be? Why am I crying?
mine was a big. I was annoyed. I'm like, okay, I took a blood pressure medicine and it made me sick. Like, how was I to know that? I'm trying to do something good for myself, and then it didn't do it. And
Hmm.
then just all the emotional load and hormonal. So it's like I had a perfect little triangle of explosives.
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, I just thank you for today. It was a lot of venting. Talked a little bit. I hope that sticks with somebody. That it's okay. And
It's
then,
okay
we
that,
all go through it. And again, don't forget it's temporary.
yes, it
The
is
good and
not
the bad.
linear. You're going to
Yeah.
go, sometimes you're going to take some steps back and it doesn't, it's just a
You
part of
won't
life.
you won't stay there. So remember, nothing changes unless you do.
So stay Delulu and make it happen.